These two guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackie and Judd on SKOR North and SKORNorth.com.
Hello.
Reckless speculation.
And welcome to a Reckless Speculation Thursday, a scoop session with our guy Darren Doogie Wolfson from the 5 Eyewitness News Sports Department.
I'm here.
You're like set up in your interview room. Are you about to conduct an interview right now with someone important?
No,
besides
although
us?
Jonathan Uhas, one of the best meteorologists in the Twin Cities, Twin Cities in the Midwest, is about 5 feet to my, I guess it would be my left.
Jonathan, what's the barometer right now?
The brown nose. Go and say hi to the boys real quick.
What's the dew point right now?
62.
62. Okay, dude.
Yeah. So here's Jonathan. So say hi.
Jonathan Uhas,
Right here.
5 Eyewitness News.
Hey, what's up?
Camera right
What's
here.
going on?
Also, another man who knows his way around a farm. Solidarity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's right there. So he's right to my left now. Here, right here. Right there. All right.
Jonathan,
Hey, what's up?
are you contractually obligated to always wear like TV tie attire when you're in that building? Like when you step foot on campus, you have to put a tie on?
No, I wear a hat and a sweatshirt, and I look like a street guy. I actually look like one of you guys, the way you're dressed.
I was gonna
We
say,
should
or
make
us.
Doogie. We should make Doogie wear a tie when he does these scoop sessions with us.
I
Come
wear
on,
ties
Doogie.
enough.
Yeah.
TV Sunday. We got to break down this epic Vikings-Giants matchup
yeah.
Sunday night.
And without a tie on, my God, the universe would blow up.
5 Faithful. Can you give us one of those, Doogie?
Yes, absolutely.
This is my favorite Doogie.
Good morning, 5 Faithful.
Yeah.
Love that
Yes.
now. I do morning
Oh,
clips.
TGIF.
So,
All right.
Dukes, what?
Yeah.
Let's start with
Think about it,
Vikings
Jonathan. Yeah.
by
Bye.
Jonathan Uhas from Channel
Okay.
5. Let's start with the injury stuff here. So we won't get the official who's in, who's out till 90 minutes before kickoff. But Jordan Addison, are we leaning toward in or out here with
In.
Jordan Addison? In.
In, Jalen Naylor in.
Oh,
Now, it still goes back to, I mean, I get it. The KOC on Wednesday, Phil said he's a couple days behind. I'm paraphrasing slightly, but a couple days behind
Yep.
Jordan Addison. But my sense, I don't say this lightly, is Jalen will play. It goes back to my original question going back weeks that, okay, Jordan would play on Sunday. I have the same question with Jalen. Yes, they will play. How impactful can they be? How effective can they be? Can they make all the cuts they need to make? Can they run at the speed they typically run at? But I expect both guys to be in on Sunday. Certainly Jordan. I get it. I trust. I take Kevin at face value when he says Jordan is ahead of Jalen. Like if it's one or the other, yes on Jordan, but I also lean yes on Jalen as well.
And if Jalen can't play, it goes back to that is the one thing with him, right? Like he's got talent. He had a great camp, and he finally stayed healthy, and now he gets hurt in a damn practice right before. Dukes, I thought the most interesting takeaway that I had from the O'Connell session on Wednesday was actually about a player who's not going to play the entire season. The McCarthy plan here. Like this is a very unique thing because it's like, okay, dude's not going to play. He's currently scooting around TCO. But he is arguably the most important person in the damn building. And so I thought O'Connell was very like, there's a plan here. And I thought it was funny because he started off by saying, because I said, is he going to travel eventually? Clearly not, week 1, Dukes. Is he going to be on the sideline eventually? And O'Connell said, well, first of all, I will defer to the medical staff. And then he sort of paused and said, to a point. Because we have a very succinct plan here. This is going to be, it's behind the scenes, but I think it's going to be one of the things that we in our business can do to watch this for the public, because it's going to be a pivotal year, and they have a definite plan of what they want now that McCarthy is out.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin will spend sessions weekly with JJ in his office. We'll be schooling him. We'll be testing him. And the plan, Judd, is for JJ to be on the sidelines when he is able. So I get it. He's scooting around, a little tough right now. But for a majority of these games this year, JJ will be on the sideline. Nothing has changed. I get it. It's upsetting. I do think at some point JJ was going to play this year. Heck, a lot of people think it would have been this Sunday. I still was not there. But heck, it's not like I knew the right answer for sure. I just didn't think it would be week 1, but it was going to happen this year. So it stinks it won't happen this year. But nothing has changed in regards to him being for sure the guy 2025 and moving forward.
So just to bring us full circle from the story that took all the headlines last weekend, Mike Zimmer, we are going from a head coach 4 years ago that started meeting with his active quarterback on Thursdays for the first time in year 4 to a head coach that's going to meet weekly with an injured quarterback out for the season in year 1, right?
That is it.
Just to be clear.
Come full circle. Yes. Yep. That's the clarity that you have gained. That is absolutely, positively correct. That's why I'll continue to say, like, Kevin O'Connell is going to be here for a long time. Like, I don't think he's going anywhere, in terms of asking the Vikings, to let him interview somewhere else, something like that. The Vikings are not firing Kevin O'Connell. I'm just telling you, Kevin is going to be here for as long as he wants to be. I truly believe that.
Yeah. And Dukes, I told Phil this on our bonus PD that we did today that's going to drop here this afternoon. But here's my thing about this, okay? So it's very much O'Connell's not being extended because Kwesi's not. What is the need in this case to attach them at the hip? That's what I don't get. Kwesi is a unique GM hire, right? It's not like an old school football guy who was brought in to fix things. Like, he was brought in to fix things, but he is I don't see the damage in saying we're going to extend O'Connell right now, partially because he is tied to McCarthy at the hip. And Kwesi, we are still, we very much appreciate what he's doing, and he's doing a great job. But I think the Wilfs are missing the boat here, because if anything, O'Connell's price point is just going to continue to rise. Now, perhaps they don't care about that, but I would give this locker room, and I would give everyone, hey, this is our coach, in part because he is going to develop McCarthy. I think it's a weird one here to tie them together. I think you can untether them without the world going crazy.
Well, I agree on that they don't necessarily need to be tied together. Let me offer a little bit of resistance, though, on the price going. Like, do you think it's going significantly up? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just the price of poker that if you wait 1 year, inevitably it's going to go up. But I just don't know how much it's going to. It
doesn't affect the salary cap either, so I don't personally care how much they pay Kevin O'Connell. If it impacts the salary cap, now I care, but it doesn't. Yeah.
So. I just don't see.
Is great. So, I mean, he's going to get paid, but I don't know whether you get the deal done, let's say today or tomorrow heading into kickoff Sunday, or you wait until February or March. I don't know if the price is going to be significantly different.
The bottom line is I don't see an advantage in not doing it.
Sure.
So that's what I don't see an advantage where, oh my God, it's Kwesi, he didn't get an extension. Yeah, it's interesting, but it's a news cycle. It'll pass in a day.
I'm with you. I mean, just knowing what they think of Kevin.
I know.
Heck, the locker room, everybody over in Egan. Like, best of luck finding anybody to say anything negatively, even on background, about Kevin. Why not do it? If you know that he's your guy,
right?
Just get it done, especially after we saw Mike McDaniel down in Miami get his extension.
Doogie, I'm gonna speculate recklessly on just playoff chances here for a second.
Reckless.
All right, well, I'll give you some reckless speculation after that.
Okay. So last year there were, I believe, 4 teams projected 6.5 win total in most sports books. 2 of them made the playoffs. One of them won a playoff game, Tampa Bay. Another one, the Buccaneers. Or the Buccaneers won a playoff game. The Colts won 9 games, missed out on a tiebreaker. But I guess my point is a bunch of the 6.5 teams wildly went over that total. Do you think the Vikings could be in that boat? Like, of all the teams, because every year you look at the teams that are 5.5, 6.5, and the Vikings are in a group of like 8 teams that are 6.5 or worse. Giants, Broncos, Panthers. 2 or 3 of those teams are going to break out and win 9 or more games based on NFL history. Why not the Vikings?
Well, I mean, of those 4, the Giants, the Panthers, the Broncos, the Vikings, to me, the Vikings have
Commanders, Titans, Patriots.
Well, Titans, Patriots. I would still put the Vikings on top of that 7 or 8 team list. I certainly have them going over the Vegas over-under of 6.5 wins. I'm not necessarily convinced they are going to the playoffs, so maybe it's a Colts-like situation from last year, get to like 8 to 9 wins, but right on that cut line. But yes, I do think based on projections, they are going to overachieve. Here is my reckless speculation. We oftentimes see contract extensions done leading into kickoff Sunday. Now, I've mentioned previously there is mutual interest. There has been dialogue and a Cam Bynum extension, but from my sense, there's just no real momentum heading into Sunday. It could always change, right? We know that both sides are motivated to get a deal done. I just think that's a tricky one. He got the escalator, so he's making good money this year, making like $3-ish million. So it's not like Cam is yearning right this second to sign an extension. You look at the safety market from March, it has exploded. The cap is going up, up, up. So there is Cam Bynum motivation just to play this thing out, get to unrestricted free agency next March. But I'm not ruling it out just based on, hey, there have been discussions. There is mutual interest. But what about Harrison Phillips? I've not heard a peep about Harrison Phillips also entering a contract year. I just know they think the world, much like they think the world of Kevin O'Connell. They think the world of Harrison Phillips. So this is reckless speculation on this Reckless Speculation Thursday. But if an extension were to get done before kickoff on Sunday, I would keep an eye on Harrison Phillips.
Interesting one. Yeah, he is. I do think that he's not necessarily a real loud voice, like with us and stuff. Nice guy. But I think he carries a lot of weight in the locker room.
I would agree.
I think he's very well respected there too. So yeah, there's it feels like there's often been the Saturday surprise. Like, it's going to be an off day for Purple Daily. No one has to worry about it. The beat guys are all off. Bang. Somebody signs an extension. So
yeah, and I'm not necessarily even saying something is going to happen.
I know.
Today, tomorrow, or Saturday. But I'm just saying if something does happen, we've talked enough about Cam Bynum. We have not discussed Harrison Phillips once. I just wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Hey, before we roll through some other things in Doogie's scoop bag here, there's a bunch of Twin stuff we have to get to. We are giving away a 4-pack of tickets to the Minnesota Renaissance Festival on the SKOR North app. There's a listener award section in the SKOR North app. We're giving stuff away on a regular basis, including a 4-pack of tickets to the Renaissance Festival, which runs weekends through September 29th. So be sure to check that out. Any other Vikings things from you, Doogie, before we get to a juicy bag of Twins injury stuff and other fodder?
Well, I mean, there's myriad storylines heading into Sunday. I believe we addressed this in March. So if we did, apologies, or maybe for some of the audience, this is new, but I think about that Brian Burns, Christian Darrisaw matchup. So the Vikings knew Carolina was going to move Burns. Things happened fast. The Vikings ultimately signed Grenard, 4 years, $76 million. But if they did not land Grenard, put it this way, there was dialogue with Carolina. The Vikings had all sorts of interest in Burns. So I just think about that angle. Brian Burns not ending up a Viking, ending up a New York Giant, now facing the Vikings on Sunday.
Was that a trade, remind me, or was he a free agent? It was a trade.
Yeah, trade. Yeah.
And what did they give up for him? Like a second-round pick? Let me Google that real quick.
Jeez. Declan, quickly look it up.
I'm just curious.
Brian Burns trade.
Phil's on top of it.
It was a second round. It was a 2024 second-round pick and a 2025 fifth-round selection, and then they swapped fifth-rounders in addition to Brian Burns going over to the Giants. So, all
right, so if the Vikings make the move, they then probably don't have the ammo to move up for Dallas Turner. So I guess in my world, give me Grenard plus Turner paired to Burns. As good as Burns is. And
I agree.
Remain fascinated by the idea of, I spoke with Grenard about this in the locker room the other day, that we are going to see Grenard, Van Ginkel, and Turner on the field together enough.
Oh. It's called a NASCAR package.
Yeah, how does that exactly play out? I'm just saying that's one thing I'm very much looking forward to, those three together.
Fire in the A gap. That's how it plays out. Fire in the A gap. What are we going to do? Bang.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
Right. Double Cali, double barrels. Let's go.
God, that's so great. Next 5 days.
Speaking of double barrels, a double barrel of Twins injury news here. Well, Carlos Correa is not really news. He just is nowhere near returning. And then Byron Buxton. So the headline was Byron Buxton gets ejected from St. Paul Saints rehab game last night. There's video. He's wearing a goofy St. Paul Saints like alternate uniform, and he's arguing with a 26-year-old home plate ump about the pitch clock and now Declan told us before we hit the microphones, he apparently tweaked his hip the pitch before, and he was processing and dealing with that while he called for time. Pitch clock should have reset. He starts arguing with the umpire, gets tossed. But he will not be returning, it sounds like, Friday. So Buxton, TBD. Correa, is he alive? Like, we haven't seen or heard from him, I feel like, in weeks. So, I don't know. Take us through the Twins training room here, Dukes.
Yeah, well, I mean, Buxton was supposed to be in the lineup tomorrow in Kansas City. Now, I'm not quite sure how to quantify how big a series this is this weekend, just because the Red Sox continue to stink. Not like the Mariners are playing good baseball. Like, to me, the American League playoff teams are pretty much locked in. Yes, we don't know who wins the American League East. Heck, we don't even necessarily maybe know who wins the American League Central. Will the Twins be the 5 seed, the 6 seed? Heck, could they still be the 2 if they somehow win the Central? Although I think about Cleveland having that tiebreaker. So we look at the standings. 4.5 really is 5.5. So it's going to be difficult. Not like Cleveland is playing great baseball since the All-Star break, but just to me, difficult to make up 5.5 games in the next 20-something days. So even though Cleveland isn't great right now, still think Cleveland ends up winning the Central. So to me, it's the Twins as the 5 or the 6. But yeah, the idea was Buxton was going to be in the lineup. They didn't want him playing on turf in Tampa, but the idea was play 7 innings on Monday in St. Paul, play 9 innings last night. Now, hey, if he doesn't get ejected, likely would have had to come out of the game anyway. And if all went well, he was going to rejoin the Twins Friday in Kansas City. Well, it didn't go well. That's the problem. And so we don't know at this point when Buxton will be back. They'll continue to evaluate him over the next few days. But certainly hip discomfort. On Correa, I think at this point, I do believe he is going to be back this year. Do I think he's going to be back in the next week or even 10, 11, 12, 13 days? Probably not. I think we're looking at some sort of 7 to 9-ish day ramp up. Get some at-bats in St. Paul, but then a 7 to 9-ish day ramp up with the Twins heading into that playoff opener, which would be, Declan, it's a Tuesday, October 1st?
Yep, October 1st.
Assuming the Twins play in that first round, end up as a 5 or a 6 seed. So you're playing in either Baltimore or perhaps New York or Houston on Tuesday, October 1st. That Correa needs a little bit of a ramp up to be in the lineup on Tuesday, October 1st. But when he does come back, what is that going to look like? My sense is he has a certain standard that in his mind he needs to meet. And he just can't meet that standard. The Twins are saying, hey, like, you played through pain last year. We can use you out there. We'll take Carlos Correa at 65%, whatever it is, that is going to help us. And so I'll continue to say, if you spoke with Twins folks on July 13th, was that the day after? Did he get hurt July 12th in San Francisco? If you spoke with Twins officials the next day or even the next few days, I don't think any Twins official would have told you that as we sit here on Thursday, September 5th, that we'd still be wondering when Correa is coming back. But I'm just telling you, my sense remains that he is going to be back, that this is not a season-ending setback.
Dude.
Also, Deshaun Kaiser joining the Twins for Max Kepler. We finally decided.
Is it Kersey? How do you say his last name? Keirsey. 2018 draft pick. By the way, look at that 2018 draft. That 2018 draft is coming on strong. It really is. Go back and look at the Twins 2018 draft.
Kersey.
I don't know the exact pronunciation.
Deshaun Kaiser was a Notre Dame quarterback.
I do know, he was. I do know Deshaun. We know the first name pronunciation, Deshaun. You talk to Sean Aronson and others with the St. Paul Saints, they will tell you this is long overdue. He should have been called up a while ago.
Yeah.
He is that good. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be unbelievable starting, today in Tampa if he's in the lineup or if he's in the lineup Friday, but I'm just saying he has very much earned this opportunity.
Kersey is how we pronounce it.
Kersey is the pronunciation? Okay, Deshaun Kersey.
And Max Kepler, after being a last-minute scratch to the lineup 2 Sundays ago and has only played in 3 games since then, is finally IL'd. I have zero idea why we wait 12 days for a guy who can't play, and the Twins had at least two situations in ninth innings over the last 11 days where they needed an extra bat or an extra runner, and they didn't have it because there's a guy on the active roster not playing. If a guy is hurt, put him on the injured list. I don't understand this babying over a guy who, by the way, in his last 52 games, has a 650 OPS. What are we waiting for off the bench for a guy who can't hit? If he can't play, put him on the injured list, for God's sake.
I love fired up Declan.
God, it infuriates me.
Dude, he's not good. He's not a good. If he's fully healthy and dialed in, he'll go through great stretches for like 6 weeks. He's unplayable when he's going through bad stretches and injured. It's ridiculous.
Uncle Mercy, my apologies. I suggested in like late April, early May, that I could see a scenario where the Twins offered him the QO, the qualifying offer. Zero chance. So this is the end of the Max Kepler Twins era. Long era, right? I mean, he signed in 2009, so we're talking about 15 years.
Yeah.
Twins organization. But come this winter, the Twins will be moving on from Max Kepler.
How much consternation, how much falling out, how much just blessed controversy is going on right now when you think about this at Target Field, okay? Royce Lewis is being forced to play a position that he's flat out told the media, I don't want to play, and here's why. We got guys that can play there. I'm not good yet. It's a dumb idea. Okay. Carlos Correa is being told, dude, we'll take you at 65%. And he's like, no, you won't. No. Byron Buxton.
Yeah, that's some conjecture, but...
Well, yeah, it's a reckless speculation Thursday.
There's been some interesting conversation.
Sports Dad can connect dots, okay? Sports Dad can connect the dots. I'm just saying that feels like there is a lot going on behind the scenes. Not to mention the poll lads told Falvey you can't increase payroll, which Falvey can't be thrilled about. I mean, at the deadline, he crapped the bed, and it's not even his fault. He probably couldn't bring on more. It just feels like it feels like the Twins have turned into team turmoil.
Well, guess what? Texas was team turmoil this time last year, losing 16 of 20. Now, I get it. That's the extreme example, but I still firmly believe just get in. And I do think the Twins are going to get in, and Pablo Lopez is rolling. Now, heck, I probably just jinxed him, right? Watch Tampa put 8 or 9 on him today. But you feel pretty good about, at this point, Pablo Lopez, not Bailey Ober, starting a game 1, then Bailey Ober in a game 2. Like, you would take your chances. All these teams in the American League have warts.
Oh, yeah.
Like, to me, you can make a compelling case for any of the 6 that make it for winning the American League. But I get it. Everything you laid out, Judd, is spot on. I can't offer any resistance on everything you just said.
Gosh. So, yeah, that's the crazy thing is the baseball playoffs are such that if you can just get in, there's always a chance. It's not like in the NFL where you limp in without your starting quarterback, you're getting smoked. You know, there's been some worlds.
Like, look at the Yankees bullpen right now. Look at Clay Holmes.
Oh,
now, maybe the former Twin, Luis Heel, Twins prospect, he's due back. Clark Schmidt is due back. So the Yankees have some reinforcements on the cusp. So maybe that Yankees 8th, 9th inning, situation looks a little different come October 1st, early October. Who starts a game 2 right now for the Baltimore Orioles? So if you end up playing Baltimore in the first round, okay, Corbin Burns, game 1, best of luck against Burns. Who is their game 2 starter right now? Rodriguez? Is he going to be healthy? I'm just saying, do we know for sure who starts game 2 for Baltimore? Then Houston. Now, how good has Yusei Kikuchi been, right? So, that's one where the Twins had all sorts of dialogue with the Blue Jays. They wanted Kikuchi. I had a Twins official, high-ranking Twins official, who was directly involved in those discussions with the Blue Jays say, hey, that's a great job by the Blue Jays. That is one heck of a haul. So the Astros, in the Twins' mind, gave up too much for Kikuchi. But look at how it's played out. Kikuchi has been so darn good.
Zach Eflin would start game 2.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, one of their trade acquisitions
at the deadline.
From Tampa. Yeah.
Doogie,
okay, you would feel pretty good if it's Bailey Ober against Zach Eflin. And Eflin's actually had a decent run, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, since he joined Baltimore.
He's pitching well.
Very serviceable. And, hey, there's a reason why he's making like $18 million a year. But you would feel okay, right? Ober against Eflin. If that's your game 2 matchup, it's not like you curl up in the fetal position.
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit here, but so Twins payroll by year, I'm just looking ahead. I'm looking at if you can't get some of these guys healthy, then all right, what's going on going into 2025? So payroll by year, 2021 coming out of the pandemic, 125 million. 2022 jumps to 134 million. 2023 it jumps to 154 million. Then they scale back almost $30 million down to 127 million opening day payroll this year. Major questions about where their local TV revenue is coming from next year. There may not be a check from Diamond Sports Group. Maybe there is, but we don't know yet. What do you think their payroll is going to be in 2025?
All right, so Max Kepler off the payroll.
That's
Manny
10.
Margot off the payroll.
That's 4.
Sure, some interest in re-signing Carlos Santana.
5.
You can make a case that maybe it's Royce at second, so maybe it's Eddie Julian at first. The skeletal remains of Alex Kirilloff. That you've got some options you could try out at first base. But there is some interest. I'll just tell you that there is some interest in Carlos Santana being back, even at 39 years old. Heck, he's Mr. Durable, right?
Yeah.
Like, credit to him for not getting hurt. We talk about all these Twins injuries. Carlos Santana in the mix to win the Gold Glove at first base has been so good since late April. I do think there's something to be said. He just doesn't like to hit in cold weather, right? So
Yeah.
maybe come up with an alternative for the first 3 weeks of the season. But there is some interest. But right now you can look at his $5 to $5.5 million coming off the payroll. Kyle
DeSclafani's 4 comes off.
at 5.5 off the payroll. I can promise you, if somebody is willing to take on the last year of Christian Vasquez's contract, the Twins would be open-minded to just parting ways with him. I think that's easier said than done. But I don't see like any sort of major signing. So you start doing the math. I mean, Wallner, okay, in at a low number. Larnach in at a low number. You've got some, rotation type options. Joe Ryan back. So you've got Ober at a pretty low number.
Those guys go up. Ober, Ryan, and Royce are ARB 1. So first year arbitration. Larnach.
But we're not talking ridiculous money. So you start taking away Margot's money and certainly Kepler's money and Farmer's money. And if you can find a taker for Vasquez, and depending on what that number would look like if Santana doesn't come back.
Not including Vasquez, we're talking $30 million.
Yeah. Jax Duran also ARB 1.
Sure, but again,
let's add 5 or 8 back in.
Guys. Yeah.
So I guess through this exercise, take out the $30 million, not even counting Vasquez of all the guys we mentioned. Add in another 7 to 10 million in arbitration salaries, or maybe 10, whatever. They could be losing $20 million off the payroll if they decide to not replenish that with free agents. Could we see another big dip without TV certainty, I guess, is something we're kind of bracing for this on the SKOR North Twin Show.
Yes, but we could also see a pretty darn good team. A full year.
Agreed.
Lee. So maybe it's Miranda at first, Lewis at third, Lee at second, Correa at short. So maybe that's the way it falls. Although maybe you want to keep the DH spot open, so maybe you still bring back Santana, Miranda, rotate around, and have, different guys DH. But yes, I mean, bottom line, I don't see how the payroll even stays the same. I certainly don't see how it goes up.
Pablo goes up.
Darn good team in 2025.
Pablo goes up from 8.2, I think, to 22. So maybe just by
a big jump in 25. I don't remember the year breakdown.
So that's the jump, and then there's also a Carlos Correa jump. They sort of backloaded. Well, there's like a 1-year jump in 25 at 37. So he goes up by 4. So I mean, they're internally. You might maybe like the math works out to be it's a similar payroll without adding anyone, just with some of the raises and arbitration guys. But it's an interesting thing to follow here in the coming months, I guess. But you're right, they could still be really good with just if Emmanuel Rodriguez is ready to rock and roll and Brooks Lee for a full season, Royce Lewis can play 120 games or something. Interesting.
You are right though, 9 to 21.5 for Pablo Lopez. So that is one thing I did forget top of my head.
Yeah.
That his big raise kicks in heading into the 2025 season. Regardless, it's still hard to see how the payroll goes up.
No. Rapid fire scoops. What else you got for us?
Well, the Vikings are bringing in a punter, Brock Miller, for a tryout, some USFL experience. But like everything I can gather, I don't think there's anything right, like in the moment for Ryan Wright to worry about. Not suggesting that Ryan Wright is the long-term solution at punter, but I think about Judd, the synergy with Will Reichard, Andrew DePaula, the threesome, when breaking down the kicking game.
Right.
I don't think they're ready to cut the cord right now on Wright. Certainly will grant you, hey, let's keep an eye on that situation, but this particular workout, I don't see it being that big of a deal.
These when the season starts, these tryouts are often to build a file on a guy, so they're not for an immediate replacement. They're often to have, like, if Wright is awful, if something happens. So yeah, I don't get too freaked out when guys try out. The team probably just wants a day to scout them, and that's about it for most of the time.
Absolutely. Couple Twins leftover notes. So Brent Hedrick looked good at CHS Field. So he's a lefty option potentially. Cody Funderburk threw live BP for the first time over in St. Paul since being sidelined many weeks ago with that oblique injury. So when we think about maybe one of those two, can one of those lefties help them at some point here before the season is over? Just something to keep an eye on. And the Vikings will have scouting representation at Gophers against Rhode Island on Saturday at Huntington Bank Stadium. Darius Taylor. What I was told last Thursday on Taylor, I mean, he's missed more games than he's played in, but we know how good the running back is for the Gophers when he does actually play. But I still think it's going to be a little bit longer. Now, he's been active. Heck, you could have seen him on the field pregame last Thursday, moving around pretty good with this hamstring issue. But I don't think he plays on Saturday, but he's not real far from being back.
Yeah. Darren Doogie Wolfson with some scoops, a little reckless speculation on this Thursday. A weather report to start the episode. Absolutely. Great stuff, Dukes.
Still 62 on the dew point, Jonathan?
Still 62, yes.
62.
It's perfect dew point.
It'll
be good work, Jonathan.
It'll be down to 58 by this afternoon.
Perfect.
Nice.
Amazing.
Nice.
All right. Thank you to
All
Jonathan
right,
Uhas and Doogie.
Bye, buddy.
Thanks, dude.
Happy NFL over here. Yeah.
Amen. All right. That's Minnesota Sports with Mackie and Judd here. Be sure to click the like button and the subscribe button on the SKOR North YouTube channel. And if you could also give us a 5-star rating and a positive review on Apple and Spotify, you can help spread the word about this glorious podcast. See you guys.